So you shared a lot about your creative process and tools you use and how you exactly do it. And here in Poland, at least, sometimes it's considered, a secret not to share the process and the tools. Why do you think it's important, and why do you talk about it?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, they think that there is a solution, that one size fits all solution, So they read a book about agile, or they read a book about whatever, and they think this is the way you have to do it. And what we've learned over the years is that it's actually more important to find the way that works for you. So everyone has their own unique way, depending on, because Anton and I are a partnership, we know each other very well, we have different strengths and different weaknesses. So our particular process would not apply to anybody else. So I think for us, it's to show how we do it, but also to show that it's okay to make up your own process and do whatever works for you, so that when people think about this in the future, if they start their own studio or they become directors, that they are happy or comfortable doing it their own way without following whatever latest marketing book is telling them to do.
Okay, and how much has the process changed since you were working for an agency and then started your own studio? Has it changed a lot, or is it?
Yeah, we don't do any meetings. Like basically there's like two of us in a studio, and back then we had to convince a lot of people, even internally, to do what we want to do in terms of the project. So we would come up with the idea, and then we had to sign off with producer, with this guy, this girl it has to call. So it's basically now we don't have to do any meetings. Like whatever we do goes into our presentation and then goes directly to the client. And then if the client says, another thing that was also very tricky back then, if the client would ask something more, we couldn't say yes or no right on the spot, because we had to go back to our agency, talk to a million people again. So now during the meetings we can go faster and like look at each other as like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do that, or no, we're not gonna do it. So we save so much time just being two of us, because we don't have to communicate or prove our things to anybody other than the client.
And also you talked about failure and how you share failure, and you're really proud of it as well, and that's what I really liked about the presentation. So how would you say, how important is it to share also the failures that you do?
I think it's important because a lot of people think that if you have a successful project, that therefore you are successful and you don't make any mistakes. But for us, every single project we've launched, even the ones that were successful, had some failures in it, And it's okay. I mean, as long as you can recover from the failure. Of course, you don't want to completely fail. I mean, that's a different story. But I think it's important to be honest about the fact that it's not easy. And even the most successful studios or the successful designers, they will never have a project where it's 100% safe and 100% easy, And I think also it's important for yourself to feel that, if it is easy, then you're probably bored, and you probably should be doing something that's a little bit more hard and maybe a little bit more of a challenge. Because if you challenge yourself, of course, there's a higher chance of, you messing something up or doing something the wrong way. But then when you do, you remember, and the next time you probably won't make that same mistake again, So it's not a matter of it's important to fail or not important to fail, or you should or shouldn't fail. Everybody fails. Yeah. It's just, it's okay to be honest about it to yourself and not feel bad about it either. And so, to own it and to learn from it, And so for any upcoming designer, I think when they're young, they think, oh, everything is easy, but it's not. No, at no point in your career is any project 100% easy.
And you also said about that you're actually pitching yourself as designers and your process instead of just pitching the project. So is this something that you learned at the agency, or is it something that you worked through as your own studio? How did you come up, with the experience of pitching yourself?
I think it happened naturally. I don't think we intentionally started pitching ourselves like for the first time we were pitching. I think the more we pitched, the more we were presenting in person, the more we realized, even the name Anton Irene as an agency comes from all our clients at the agency. Every time we would do something, they would say, hey, call Anton and Irene, let them come to our studio. Call Anton and Irene, they promised us this, this, and this. So basically all clients were referring to us as Anton and Irene, therefore we called our studio like that. So over time doing this and people calling us Anton and Irene, we thought it's actually more beneficial to pitch ourselves as a team rather than the idea. And then we learned also a lot of pitches we won. We would ask for feedback or what was right. Client maybe wasn't even thrilled about the idea. They selected us because we, in our pitch presentation, we also share part of our process, you know, how we're going to start the project, what exactly we're going to do there. So it's not only just we're going to show the idea.
You know, at the end of the day, your client is going to work with you for a year. So they're not going to do that if they don't like you, you know? Yeah. And I used to make a very bad comment where I would say, choosing an agency choosing us and us choosing, you know, a team choosing us and us choosing them, it's like a date, you know? We want a date, we don't want to be prostitutes, you know? Yeah. So it's a bit like that. Like it is also at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings. So it's important to like each other, you know? And sometimes you don't like each other and that's okay too. And then probably you won't get the project, you know? So it's also the interpersonal dynamics between human beings.
Because if you work for an agency, you can hide behind the brand of the agency. Yeah. And if you have your own studio, you have to kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.